Welcome back to Super Tuesday Recap. It's your host here, Kriss, and I got Dpalm and Shanna joining me. We are finally getting around to something we put off for Dpalm's wedding. We're finally getting around to reviewing the last two episodes of the Inhumans Season 1. It's Havoc in the Hidden Land, and finally Black Bolt are the last two episodes, episodes 7 and 8. Since Shanna, we have not had you on to talk about Inhumans, I'm going to go ahead and let you start and say what your overall thoughts of, I guess, the whole entire season now, but particularly these last two episodes. So,
Inhumans is one of those things that's frustrating. And it's frustrating because you see all the makings of what could have been great, and it's so close to being great. And with just a couple of changes, it could have been great. And nobody thought to really sit down and think about what they were doing. And I know that sounds ridiculous because I'm sure there's 300 people who worked on this show. But it really feels like nobody really sat down and was like, how are we really going to build up these characters so people actually enjoy them? And it's a shame.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. It's like this is also the same weekend as we're reviewing the same weekend as Justice League, and it kind of reminds me of that. It's like you guys made a bunch of terrible decisions, and something that is not. I don't think it's as trash as people are saying it is, but at the same time, it should have been a lot better.
Yeah.
And I feel like Deepak, I think we talked about this before, right? That this show might have been better as a 10-episode season.
If it had a little more room to breathe, and I think more than anything, watching these last two episodes, which, say what you will about the series, I think the last episode was better than any right being.
I agree with that. I actually think the last two episodes are probably their two best episodes. All things considered.
Where was this show the whole time?
Yeah, considering they brought back Fish Boy Triton, and
because you and I said I guess he's really dead. That was a good swerve by them.
Yeah, well they good in fact that we'll get into that later, but he can actually fight. He can actually fight, and so I'm watching the scenes going, nigga. What have we been doing the last 7 episodes? Dealing with struggle fights and
I think we talked to the actor at San Diego. He's like a martial arts champion.
What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know why they just left him underwater for 7 episodes.
It's because you want to peek at the end. I get why you do it, stylistically. It's just I disagree with the choice. Because goodness gracious,
he showed up I'm not gonna lie. I have been talking cash shit about Triton. I have been, and
we know, Chris. We recorded those conversations.
Yeah, and so when he shows up, in 7, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's a lot. No, actually, it's not even 7. He shows up in 7, but when he starts fighting in 8, I'm like, hey, wait a minute. He's not useless out of water. Because I couldn't figure out why they would send. Because at one point, Maximus even has that conversation. It's like, come on, Maximus brought you. Black Bolt brought you to one place that doesn't have water. You're a water-based Inhuman, and there's no water on the moon. I'm like, you know what? Maximus kind of got a point here, man. What are you doing?
Once again, Maximus not wrong.
What are you? Are you I had the Aquaman moment. So you talk to fish? Is that what you do? What exactly are your superpowers? And he brought them blades out and started slicing people up, and I'm like, oh, but you can actually fight. You actually have skills. What the fuck?
If you are the fish Inhuman, when there's no water around, guess what you got to do?
Right, you got to, yeah.
You got to learn.
Guess what you got to do? Fight a lot.
Okay, the other problem that I had with Triton coming back, other than the fact that we could have had him sooner, apparently this was part of a plan that Black Bolt had because he was somewhat suspicious of Maximus, but not enough to see the coup coming. I am confused.
They tried to make Black Bolt seem smart and it backfired.
I was like, if you were so smart,
wait a
how
second.
did you end up trapped in that thingy for a half an episode?
Well, here's the
thing. If you knew they were coming, how'd you get got?
Exactly. Right. You have a secret bunker, but you didn't think to move everybody there.
But the other thing too that got me is like, so you just sat underwater for all these days and just like, what were you doing? Like, what were you doing all that time? Were you jerking off?
Black Bolt? How are you keeping abreast of the situation? You have Wi-Fi down there. What's going on?
Yeah, so you know what it is to me, and this is something we talked about when the first episode dropped, and the first two episodes dropped. It was, I think they spent too much time reading the wrong Inhumans comics. And so it feels like they really pulled too much from that Marvel Knights Inhumans run, that 12-issue.
One that everyone loved that you and I read. And I'm like, wait a second.
It is terrible.
Wait a second.
Yeah, it is not good. But it's for the same reason, because what you get in that series, and I'm just a rehasher for those who, for some reason, didn't listen to our Character Corner on Inhumans. You should do that.
How dare you?
I know, but what it was is you have, Maximus is doing the same thing, working with some humans to kind of, and this time Adelan is on Earth, but he's working with some humans to kind of bring down the shield and do all this stuff and doing all the subterfuge things. And Black Bolt, for I want to say 11 and a half issues, doesn't do shit and looks really incompetent. And they keep saying, well, he has a plan. And then in the last half of the issue of 12, they reveal what his fucking plan was, which wasn't really a plan anyway, because it still, just like this one, involves the destruction of Adelan and them having to switch locations. So it's not really a good fucking plan to begin with. Like, it's just, that's the problem. They picked the absolute worst issues to take from, and you have, you get these last two episodes. And all of a sudden, Black Bolt is this. He has a bunker. Like, they start setting up for season 2. They're not gonna get right. Oh, there's another larger enemy. There's this bunker he's been doing. He became king because he's the only one that can protect them from this other enemy. And blah 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 blah. And I'm like,
you mean the show got real fucking interesting at the very end?
I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, you guys have now gotten to the point where you've lost pretty much everybody. But people who are like, the ratings for the show have been in the garbage. So you didn't put your best foot forward, and now you're dumping all this stuff that could possibly be interesting, but is never going to be followed up on because you're not going to get a second season.
Chris, the only reason I'm okay with that is because if whatever happens with this next season of Agents, if you can say that, we're going to tie it to Inhumans, tell that stories in concert, if that gets another season of Agents, I'm here for it.
No, absolutely. And
I have said already that if the two stories can dovetail and they give the show to Jed and Marissa,
yeah,
I'm down. I'm in for a season 2.
Just call it Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Inhumans.
Yeah.
or New Humans, or whatever you want to call it. And just let's do that.
I mean, it just... And again, we'll go more into these two episodes here, and they are, to me, they're the best shot episodes. They're the best looking episodes by far. I mean, it's to the point where, you know what I actually thought? I actually thought that not only did they shoot the first two in IMAX, they shot the last two also at the same time. That's what I actually think happened. Because they don't shoot these in order. I actually think they shot episodes 7 and 8 when they shot 1 and 2. Maybe not.
And they ran out of money and shot the rest of the season.
I 100% believe that. I 100% believe. Because here's the thing: you don't bring the actor who plays Triton is only in the first episode, maybe 2. I'm not sure they do a flashback on him in 2, but I think it's just in the first one. So you didn't shoot those 2 in IMAX and then wait 6 weeks and then bring him back to shoot those last 2 episodes. No, you probably did it all at once. I 100% believe they shot 1 and 2, 7 and 8, and then they went back and did 3 through 6 after that. Like, that makes sense to me. Just from the way it looks. From the way it looks like you guys had money when you guys did this. You didn't have money when you did the other things. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird to me. But going back to what you were saying about like tying it.
It's also rude to do that because then that means that they had the whole season plotted out. So you plotted this whole shit out.
Oh, I believe they did. Like, there's no way they didn't have this whole entire season plotted out. It was only 8 episodes. They weren't going about this by this. They had to at least done. They had to have this plotted out. And I know they had to plot it out because at the end of the episode, they started doing these smart things like, we have to talk to the big guy to see if we can do this. So who's the guy you talk to? Is it the president of the United States? Is it whoever this agency you're talking to? Oh, you're not going to tell us? Okay. Hey, where's New Adelan at? Where did you guys take New Adelan? Oh, you're not going to tell us where that's at either? You're going to just say that? Okay, so you guys are... Okay.
Which allows us to have us randomly appear there during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because there's nowhere it's been established.
Exactly.
Look,
I believe that's what's happening.
All they're doing is giving me a stronger case for the next season of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's do this. If that's what the 8 episodes was for, mission accomplished.
I think that's what it is. I honestly, the show's not going back. It's not. But I do believe that here's the thing. I actually believe that they did shot. They took those out. I believe they did have a plan to show us where Adelan was. I think they did have a plan to tell us who they were talking about and who the big guy was, if it's the president or whatever. I believe they did have that in there, and they cut it out so they could have a dovetail into if Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. gets another or we say Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. gets another season this season, because we know this season might not be finished yet. They might not have the entire season plotted out, so we know that they could do like the last arc of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. could wrap up Inhumans and do it for him. Which I wouldn't put it past them, because that's where the actual writers are and the actual team of competent people putting a show together, because it definitely wasn't this fucking show.
I really hope the first thing that they do is get rid of Louise. She is so superfluous. Oh my God. When what's the name showed up and she was like, I never thought I'd see you again. I yelled at my screen and I had hoped we would never see you again, Louise. Like, why? Why didn't we have to go back to her?
Because she's the human. We know why.
Yeah.
She is Felicity Light. Felicity Zero.
So
she's not even full strength Felicity. It is disgusting.
Yeah, she's like Felicity 0.05 or something like that. So that goes to one of another case for why I think these episodes were shot after 1 and 2. The relationships between some of these characters feels off. So like the relationship between Medusa and Louise, it kind of like she's hugging her and like, I thought I'd never see you. I'm like, I mean, you guys were kind of like, I know you guys had some moments, but you guys weren't like hugging close. Like you weren't that close.
Yeah, there
together.
was some life and death shit. I can see that.
Okay. And then I don't know. It just felt like they were trying to connect to some things that they had plotted out during the middle episodes, but they didn't get. But again, like I said, if I forget that and just look at these 2 episodes themselves, they're not bad. I do feel that there were some, and we're kind of combine the 2 episodes together as we talk about them. I do feel like they really weren't sure how they were going to bring the Maximus Black Bolt thing to a close. Because if you watch it, they keep having Maximus go to different locations, but for no reason. Like at one point, he goes to the control center, and I'm like, well, he could have seen that there was a problem with the shield then, but he just leaves there, and then they all, like him and all the guards, leave the control center. Then they go to the Terrigenesis Center, and it's like that doesn't make any sense. It's like they didn't know exactly how they wanted to take care of and handle this, and they kept hinting at that. Him getting the crystals and him going through secondary Terrigenesis, and then it never happened. Like it just felt like to me they didn't know what they wanted to do with that. They didn't know if they wanted him to go through the secondary Terrigenesis.
I think they knew what they wanted to do. It's just they didn't have a good plan for things for Maximus to do until they got there.
Okay.
I think there was no. They're like, oh, this is because. For what it's worth, the stuff between the 2 brothers at the end is probably the show that's most compelling.
Yes,
and they knew they wanted to end there, but they were like, "Wait, shit, we've kind of shown all Maximus's plans." I would have had him and maybe they wanted to show him going crazier and crazier. They didn't do that, but I thought that you're right. They kind of ran him in circles for no good reason. But if it was them just pacing because they had nothing to do for him, that's just poor writing.
Yeah, they were playing cat and mouse, but not really, because
it's like,
Maximus leaves the control room. Karnak now needs to go to the control room. Oh, but they weren't. It wasn't that kind of thing where you're like, okay, I need to get here, but my villain is here. How can I lure him over here so that I can go where I need to go? It was just like, oh, Maximus left. let's go there now.
Right? You know what it feels like? It feels like they only had the set for so few time. They were like, all right, Max was just off the set, so let's get Karnak in here now and shoot him real quick. Let's do that. Okay, Karnak, you're out. Now let's bring Maximus back in here and shoot this. It's just, I don't know. It felt kind of weird. I like you said, the two brothers off. It's when they were at their strongest. And I think that is the thing that I think they really squandered during these 8 episodes. Is it wasn't until this, especially the last episode, that we really got Maximus and Black Bolt together, and that was compelling. And you're sitting there going the entire time, it's like, wow, if you guys had made that more, even if it had been flashbacks. You know, something to show us how they normally interact with each other. Because, like, when, I think, like, for instance, it could have been a stronger reveal when Maximus was like, yo, brother, I learned your language. I know your signs. You can talk to me that way. I know what you're saying. It would have made more impact if we had seen earlier flashbacks of Maximus pretending like he didn't know what Black Bolt was saying. You know?
I would like to point out that I assumed that he knew his signs. Like, I assumed all of the royal family.
No, that's the thing. It's like it's supposed to be only him.
That's why Medusa's always talking.
Yeah, it's only supposed to be him and Medusa.
I mean,
yeah,
I got that after,
right?
But I just assumed because I'm like, they're closest to him. Why wouldn't all of them know his?
And this is one of the reasons why I think it should have been 10 episodes. Because if you'd given me 2 more episodes on Adelan of establishing that no one knows the signs but Medusa,
right?
Show rather than tell, and I think that the rush nature of the entire project and the uncertainty of what they wanted to do hampered everything. Because I'll tell you what, these, like we've said the whole time, these last 2 episodes show what this show could have been the whole time.
Yep.
And it was unfocused and meandering, and I'm now I'm madder than I was because it's shown that it wasn't just a misunderstanding of the property; it was a misapplication of what they had read or what they had experienced.
Yeah, because I mean, put it this way, like. Again, another reason why I feel like it just like you can watch. You can't do this, but it's like watch episodes 1 and 2 if you have to, and then watch 7 and 8, and that's it, right? Because
because even 1 and 2.
Because when Fish, I'm gonna keep calling him Fish Boy. I'm sorry, I know it's Triton, but I'm gonna keep calling him Fish Boy because I like calling him Fish Boy.
Put some respect on his name, yo, because like he showed up.
You know what?
He showed out.
All right, you know what? He is the best fighter, so I'm gonna go and I'm gonna put some respect on that name. It's Triton, all right. So when Triton shows up, right? It was so weird when everybody was like, "Oh man, we missed you," and I'm like, "Yeah, but for like 6 episodes, you guys didn't." like he really was the forgotten member of the royal family, and then he kind of forgot. Like you saw more from Karnak about Gorgon, being dead, and that went on with that, right? Than you did from anybody. It's like, oh yeah, hey, you know what? We did lose Triton. Like what? Whatever happened to him? And then when he shows up, and I'm like,
I'm so sad we lost Gorgon and what's his name? Oh,
like they really.
That's how it felt. You're right.
They really did treat Triton like he had gone up the stairs in Family Matters and never came back down. And then
Bye, Judy.
they really jittied him. But then he shows back up, and they're like, "Oh man, we miss you so much." And I'm like it would have been really nice for Triton to be like. Did you really though? How hard did you try looking?
Did you miss me? Because the guy who told you I was dead, he's the one who threw you out of our city. Mm-hmm. Maybe you shouldn't have trusted him. Yeah, I'm just saying. So, I did find that funny, and it's weird because, again, he didn't get a lot to do, and I don't know that actor, but I mean, it's not like everybody else on the show is a strong actor. I mean, there's a few here and there, but I mean, fucking Crystal is still. Fucking terrible.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk about Crystal in 1 minute. Go finish your thought.
But so I'm like, yo, and he did pretty good he wasn't just fighting, but even delivering his lines. I'm like, yo, it would have been nice to have him around a little bit longer, particularly when you see that he's basically there, and again, I guess this goes back to they had the 2 more episodes in Adelan to show us this. I now understand why Black Bolt sent Triton, because it's like. Oh, he's your black ops guy. He's the guy you send to infiltrate to do that's your guy. You don't send Karnak. You don't send anybody.
I asked that question. I'm like, why would you send the Fishman?
Right. We're like, why? I mean, granted, Earth is covered, I think 60-70% in water, but at the same time, he's Fish Boy. Like, oh, Fish Boy is basically special ops. That makes sense now. But because we never had that setup there, you don't know. And in a way, it kind of works out because when he is set off to do something, you're like, you sending Fish Boy? All right, man, I guess. And he starts whooping people's ass. You're like, oh, Fish Boy.
That oh shit moment.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me, Mr. Triton, sir. Excuse me.
Fish man.
You're like,
Fish sir.
it's a really easy fix.
Mr. Fish.
Right.
You get to have your same opening scene, your same dramatic opening scene where Triton goes and gets the girl, but he doesn't die. And then you go back to Adelan, and then you have, we have a similar situation. Triton, can you go back? And you see Maximus sending him. And then you get the same exact, and then you do like kind of a repeat of that scene, but it goes horribly wrong. And you get the same effect of seeing him getting a feeling for who he is and why they send him. And you still get Maximus betraying him.
Well, even better.
And you get that reveal later.
You can do that. Or even better, just give us longer, make that opening scene longer and show him actually fighting off the mercenaries. Because if you think back to that scene, he doesn't do anything. We never know who that Inhuman is. We never know how she got there and what we never know what his original mission was. So if they show us him breaking in to get her and then doing all that stuff, instead of going back and then just have him show us that entire scene of what happened. Basically what happens is we get the end of it and we just get him running and then we get him shot and then that's it. And it's just like, okay, are we supposed to give a shit about him? Are we supposed to? No, we're not. Okay, just fuck it. It's just, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating because when you see what he can do, you're like, oh man, that he's actually. I feel bad now for disrespecting him for 6 episodes. Okay, I don't really feel
but
bad.
do you really?
I don't. I don't.
That was like, okay.
No, I don't. I don't. Crystal.
Okay, Crystal. Okay, so just how we said that the most compelling stuff was between the brothers, I am so frustrated at how they wasted Crystal because I think similarly the most compelling stuff would have been between her and Medusa. They never go in, at least not from her end. Everybody gets their little flashback episode and we get their, backstory and all that. And we get Medusa's, but we never get the side from Crystal of how she feels about her sister marrying the dude who killed their parents or any of that stuff. Instead, they decided to give her that cliche alien comes to Earth, fall in love with a human story. And I don't think this has any reflection on the actress. I really think it's a reflection on the writing. I feel like they cast people who can act and then gave them shit to do.
Can't she really act though? I'm asking just because all the lines she delivers are delivered terribly.
I mean, I don't know her from anything else, but what I have been noticing lately is people that I'm like, oh, I didn't think that they were really good actors. I see them on something else and the writing is better, and all of a sudden they're better actors.
True. I can believe that.
I can rock with that. Yeah.
But no, I 100% agree with you. What they did with, and again, this goes back to something Dpalm said before. It's like, she's next to Black Bolt. She's probably the next most powerful Inhuman they have, and so I get them not wanting to have her use her power because, like, when she shows up, she just shows up with Lockjaw in the middle in the royal court in front of Maximus, and she basically tells the guards, like, yeah, I can kill you guys all. I can kill all of you.
Don't start none.
Like, don't start. And I'm like, oh man, I get that, but then she doesn't do anything. Like I don't even think they have her use her powers these last 2 episodes.
She doesn't. And so this is something I've been thinking about too. So I went back and I started reading some old FF stuff and like her first appearance crystals. And a lot of the crystal stuff, she's underwritten as a youth. Mm-hmm. I think almost on purpose because the same things that you and I said, that she's almost too powerful. And she is kind of that. She's written kind of with that naivete that's portrayed here, and whether it's well communicated but kind of clumsily handled, I think, with the writing. But I think that the crystal that a lot of us are trying to that we kind of want is a Crystal that came way later. It's kind of in like at the Marvel Cosmic stuff that we read.
True. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Because like that was it during the Kree Inhuman War?
The War of Kings when she tells Medusa no and like threatens her sister's life.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
That's a very late developing Crystal.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And but you know, I think that's because this is gonna be something. I'm gonna do something on the mistakes that DC has made with their DCEU universe because there are plenty. But one of the ones
How much time do you have?
I know, I'm trying to do this like in a 10-minute video, and I started thinking about it. I'm like, I might have to do 10-minute videos, one on each topic. anyway, but one of my things with that is like the whole thing with the Flash. I'm not going to any spoilers here, but they have Barry Allen in there, and he's like just really really young, and it feels like he's Wally West and stuff like that. And I realized that it's the same thing they did with Crystal here, which is they always feel like they got to make one of the characters young to have them relate to like the young people. And I'm like, you guys do realize that they didn't do that with an Avengers, right? So why are you still trying to do that?
It feels like fellow teens.
Like, yeah, right.
In their defense, they're doing it now with Spider-Man.
Well, no, but that's different though because the best Spider-Man is the
teens who are interesting.
Yeah, he's actually a teenager, and it's teenage Spider-Man, something we've never seen before. So, like that to me is different. But like when you start off with the teams, it's like the Avengers, they're all peers, they're all adults, and so you didn't need to have this young into like Shanna said, where it's like, "Hello, my fellow millennials, there. How are you doing today? Are we listening to our personal musical devices today?" Like it just feels so off, and it's like, why don't you make them all like if they had made Crystal older, and I think the actress might be a little bit older. If they had her act more her age, it would have been fine, and we could have gotten the Crystal we wanted. That would have which would have been better suited for the show. And
would it have complicated something? And I see what you're saying. The Crystal you and I want though isn't the Crystal that exists in the time period of the story they're telling.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, that goes back to the other point of they picked the wrong story. They picked the wrong story to tell from. So, so that comes to it too. Because you're right. I think that it's not that early Crystal was written badly, but it's just it doesn't age well. And when you use that, it's just like I don't know. I think they should have made an executive decision to make her a little bit more mature. Excuse me. And do it that way versus try to have her. You know what it feels like sometimes? It feels like how Wally was sometimes felt out of place on the Flash, and you realize it's because the actors are a year apart from each other, but yet until they still calling him Kid Flash and they're calling him a kid, and it's like, I mean, like
well, it's also you don't have to tell that story that they told with her. It could have been more compelling. They didn't have to do she meets a hot boy, and I would have, what I would have even enjoyed more? How did Crystal get Lockjaw?
Yes.
Have that be her flashback. During the episode where Lockjaw was hurt, that would have been a more compelling story than like meets a hot boy and they go skinny dipping.
And I think the thing that's most disappointing here is that a lot of the Marvel properties have been ones that would take chances with form and infrastructure. And you're right, this feels like they lean on the cliche because they feel like they said, we're taking a risky property in primetime on ABC. Let's tell a story people know and are familiar with. And so, while I think you're right, it would be more compelling, I also see the creative and editorial reasons why they chose to tell the story they told. Also, because if you have Crystal out here actually doing shit, her powers get real expensive real fast.
Yeah. By the way, I have decided that I like the actress because we have the same birthday. I was just looking up her age.
That's the smallest, weirdest, most petty reason to like someone.
Hey, well,
me and Emily Bett Records had the same birthday
it's
too.
Also, I'm a Penny Hardaway fan, so.
So, whatever. Like, you said we're a cool girls group.
Wait, did you say you're a Penny Hardaway fan?
July 18th. What do you want me to do?
I mean, you said that it's like who's not a Penny Hardaway fan?
That's also fair.
I thought you were going to say who's a Penny Hardaway fan in 2017 because I haven't heard that name in so many years.
Yeah, I mean
that's because you're not living right, ma'am.
Yeah, look,
He
man.
was a 6'8" point guard. What do you want to do? Let's talk. No, it's
Not just that, but I mean, he had Little Penny too. The Little Penny commercials were the fucking greatest commercials.
The Little Penny commercials were everything in 1998.
4 to 6. What are you talking about? 8. And then he's on his first knee surgery.
Right.
I was like, what's happening?
Right.
Shaq was in LA. Penny was alone in Orlando.
Little Penny commercials.
People forget that the only team to break up a Jordan team, to beat a Jordan team in the playoffs after 91 was the Penny Hardaway led Orlando Magic in 1995.
Yes.
So
just saying.
Let's move on.
I'm sorry. I just had a question because I was just like, wait, are you saying that like there are people out there who do not like Penny Hardaway? It's like I need to meet these people so I can fight them. So here's another thing that I think kind of suffered as well. Like the thing that was going on with the boy who could see the future and his father. Like I think that there was so much they could have done with that, but it was handled so poorly because
huge miss.
It was just a huge miss because the father never like has a turn. He never realizes like Aaron does. She realizes that Maximus is like you know something that I thought would have been really nice if she was the one that gave Medusa the crystals. Mm-hmm. Because that would have made more sense because it goes back to how they were jumping around to different places in different places. She was the one in there. How did I never saw how we never saw Medusa go to the Terrigenesis.
I think it's implied that she does, like,
okay.
Because doesn't Karnak say like I have somebody who can help us?
Well, to get her to meet Maximus. Yeah. But I and that's where I'm going with. I'm going with the fact that she did do that because you see her arc and her go to realizing that Maximus isn't the man she thought he was. But you never get that with that young boy's father, who is like a diehard Maximus stan. But nothing really comes of it, that him or his son. And I'm like
that would have been interesting also to see them part ways because the boy realizes because he spends all his time with Maximus while the dad is like this foot soldier. That would have been interesting. That's all of the stuff we're talking about, mind you, all of this like really rich character stuff that they could have mined is all family stuff. It's all about the family. And what makes this show not good is that they were trying to push all this plot stuff when they should have been using the plot stuff to go deeper into this character family stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it's just like I said, I feel like for instance, they killed Declan. Declan gets killed in the most throwaway use ever. Like he literally
threw him away.
They literally threw him away.
Did he kill him off screen?
No, he didn't get killed. No, it's when Gorgon pushes him into the other chamber and he dies from that. But it's like it's literally a throwaway scene because Gorgon does throw him away.
Like, but it's Gorgon gives him a horse kick.
Yeah, but it's like you had done all this setup of this guy who is studying Inhumans, and he doesn't, like, we thought when we first saw him that Declan was an evil guy, and it turns out he's not. He's just a scientist who's looking to try to, he's not even like an evil scientist, he's just like a regular, curious scientist, and...
Not even curious. He was commissioned to do a job.
Well, I think
he's just a working ass scientist.
Right.
He's the dude who's punching a clock.
You know what it reminded me of?
He wasn't like evil or anything.
Right.
No, he's just like, I got this job. It was offered. It was a great opportunity for me and my family. We moved to Hawaii to do experiments for this guy. Never met him, but the check's always clear. Right. Anyway, why do you ask? Like, it just feels like you got caught up.
Yeah, it's just, oh man. Like, so it's just, I don't know. It's just weird. It sucks because, as like I said, I think the last 2 episodes show that there was a good show here, but they just never they never gave it the treatment it should have gotten and the respect it should have gotten. And again, the ends of episodes and them going out of the way to not. And I understand that we're hoping that they're leaving it open so they can connect to Agent of Shield, but the fact that they didn't have any other connections to Agent of Shield, that you look at that trailer for Agent of Shield, and it looks so good compared to what we've gotten from Inhumans for 8 episodes, and it just goes along the lines of you guys didn't even try. And I think that's the thing that insults me the most is that it really feels like they had something that could have been good here, but they didn't really fucking try, and they just rushed to get something out, and it shows in the final product, which sucks because again, like the most compelling stuff happens in this show out of 8 episodes happens in episode 8.
Right.
It just does, and it really sucks that, like you said. This is the one time, like, it was to the point where even after, like, halfway through episode 7, I think I fell asleep last night. I tried to watch it late last night. I fell asleep. I woke up this morning and finished watching 7, and then I watched 8. And when I was watching 8, I was like, you know what? I did not hate 8. I did not hate that. I actually enjoyed that. That was actually pretty fucking enjoyable. I actually sat up a couple times to watch it, and I never did that before any of the other episodes. And, yeah, even down to the idea of when Black Bolt leaving Maximus in the bunker with all that food, which again gives us an idea that he'll go mad there, and there's so much, burying his brother by saying goodbye, and it's all that stuff. Like all that was done really, really well. Yeah, when Maximus reveals that he forged the stamp, and it ended up getting Black Bolt to kill his parents, and it was all a lie. Like all that stuff. Like I said, I just wish they had done a better job of, because there's the thing. I don't think they've revealed that that's why Black Bolt said why to his parents.
This is the first time we heard it.
So it's like, so when you're saying that, what the fuck? Why didn't you let us know that in episode 1? Like that makes that would have made that scene, like, it still has impact because you still go, oh fuck, that's fucking nuts. That's crazy. But it would have had even more impact if we had done it that way. Like, I went and watched Thor Ragnarok again yesterday. I know Dpalm and I are going to talk about that. I think later today. We'll get to that. But like the Thor and Loki stuff in there, like that's kind of what I guess they were trying to go for with Maximus and Black Bolt here. But it's just, you didn't give us enough of it. You didn't do enough setup for it. Like there was all this time to do it, and you didn't do it. You didn't do it with the flashbacks, and then we see it.
Black Bolt just spent the last 2 episodes begging to kill him.
Yes.
Like this isn't you got to earn this turn. While the turn was good, nothing before it made it worth it, made it valuable. No, I loved the scene.
Yeah. The lead up to it when like he confronts him and you think they're gonna fight, and you're like, I can't even get excited about this fight. He's gonna beat him in like 2 seconds. Like you just know, because we know that Maximus isn't a fighter. We know that Black Bolt, all of the rest of them have trained to fight. So, like, even him fighting him was just like, oh, okay.
Well, that, and when he fought like Triton, I was like, oh, nigga, you're not fighting Triton. Come on, like Triton went from fish boy to that fish dude to, oh, you ain't fucking with that nigga, yo. Like in a span of 1 episode.
Mr. Triton?
Right.
I don't want Mr. Triton.
Right.
Mr. Triton got the knives. I don't want a problem. Leave Mr. Triton alone.
That is the only thing. I'll be honest. That is the only thing these 8 episodes have done. They put some respect on Triton's name, yo. I now respect that.
Forever and ever.
That's it, yo. When this show doesn't get renewed, I'm like, we're gonna pour some out for that nigga Triton, though. We're gonna do that. So, all right. Anything else you guys want to say before we wrap this up?
Hold on. Let me look over my notes.
I'm good. I've said my piece.
Who's the enemy? Who do you think it's going to be if they ever?
It's got to be the Kree.
Last question about things that ain't gonna happen.
Right. I mean, but it's got to be the Kree, right?
That's what I was like, Skrulls, Kree. I don't.
But it's not.
Creators are coming to destroy them. That's the only story they've got.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen. So. Yeah.
No,
unless they tie it into Agents, because Kree are on Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. this year, which also makes this whole thing so fucking stupid, because the Kree are on Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. this season, so not having some kind of, even hinting at the tie, that's the thing that gets me. It's like, I get if you don't want to spoil Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm going to push back here. I'm okay with even not hinting, because remember, there were never explicit hints in Agent Carter that dark matter would matter, and all of a sudden you get a season based on it.
True. But here's the other thing, too. Agent Carter got killed, got canceled because of that. So I'm just saying, if you want your show to stay around, right? If you want your show to stay, maybe burying the lead and being too clever.
Don't be so cute.
Yeah, don't be so cute that you. And I think that's in a way. I think that's also what happened with with Inhumans here. They try to get too cute, and I'm like, you got too cute here, and it just didn't work. And also, fuck you for cutting off Medusa's hair and deciding you don't want it. It just they went so fucking cheap.
That's what. Okay, that was the thing you just reminded me. I do want to say what I really liked about this whole entire arc was, for me, I'm not a Inhumans comic reader. I've mostly seen Inhumans through other comics that I've read, like reading the Miss Marvel comics and all that. And I really loved the arc that Medusa had, and seeing her come into her power as a queen and like stand up to Black Bolt and tell him that she's just can't be like his translator. She wants to be his equal and his partner, and him giving her the moment in the end where she got to address everybody, and not it being his words, but her words. I really enjoyed that entire arc. So if by any stretch of the imagination they come back, that's what I want to see more of.
Well, then her hair.
Oh yeah, I would love her hair to come back, but I mean, also clearly they don't know what to do with the hair. Clearly they don't know how to do the hair, and they really should have thought about that, because I remember when Brave came out, we had one of the animators, because Pixar is here. One of the animators from Pixar, he like came and gave a talk at the school that I worked at, and he said he's like I hate red hair now. The animation on it, he was like, it was so detailed and like every strand, and we really had. So the fact that they went into this not thinking that they were going to have to spend a shit ton of money on prehensile hair, and they were like, oh, this is really hard, let's just cut it off. Like, really? That should have been like your main thought when you were like, we're going to do it in Inhumans, was like how we're going to do the hair and the teleporting dog. You had two jobs.
I also want to applaud them for knowing that they couldn't pull it off.
Right. Just cut it off. Just cut it off. Just cut it all off.
You wait, you matter 8 hours later, they'd have this struggle ass hair for eight hours.
Right. No.
The hair is
the technology's not there. The technology's not there. I'm okay with that, and I'm glad they didn't try to stretch it.
We haven't yet made the technology.
Right. We're not there yet. We do not have the technology. We do not have it. We cannot do this. Yeah.
10 years from now, they'll be like, now we're ready. Now we're ready.
Look back and then say, those are the dark ages before we could properly animate Medusa's hair on television.
Oh, God. All right. Well, there you guys have it. That's, again, hey, we ended on a better note than I thought we were, because I didn't watch these episodes until this morning, because when they came out, I was like, I can't do this. I don't want to watch Inhumans, so I didn't. So, but no, I think, again, fuck you, Ike. Fuck you, Ike, and fuck you, Scott Buck. Yeah, because those are the two problems. Those are the two problems on this show. And I think without them, we get a better show. So, yeah. So, anyway, you can find the rest of our stuff on Super Tuesday Recap on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music. Shanna and Dpalm both were on the review we did for The Gifted. That's only on Super Tuesday Recap feed or on YouTube. So you get them both there. Go to youtube.com/MTR Network. Shanna will be back. You guys have Supergirl this week. I actually thought all the shows would take a break this week because of Thanksgiving.
Same.
But they're not. Like, Arrow's actually airing their show on Thanksgiving, and I'm like, fuck, okay. All right.
Not only not taking a break, but it looks like they're doing some big freaking deal episodes.
Yeah, it's like they're not just doing like some throwaway episodes either. I'm like I think Tuesdays we're getting The Flash, and we're getting the episode with him, the Thinker. I'm just like, you guys are just fuck. Okay, we're doing it.
We're getting Mon-El back on Supergirl.
Oh my God, what the fuck. Anyway,
with the Legion,
and you can also get Dpalm on you. Oh, and this week we're doing a mailbag episode. So email us mailbag@mtrnetwork.net. Get your questions in. Try to get them in by
Justice League questions.
Yes,
or I'll be forced to make some up.
there's gonna be plenty of Justice League stuff to talk about, and we got to talk about when we're gonna do that spoiler review for that because there's a lot to talk about with that shit. So and you also hear me on the unanimous decision later on today. So go figure, unanimous decision is gonna be bad.
And I think I'm going to talk to the ladies, the MTR ladies, about doing a review of the new Netflix series. She's got to have it based on Spike Lee's movie.
Perfect. Well, there you guys have it. So you guys can find all that
drops
stuff.
on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So, all right, folks. Well, thank you guys very much for listening. You said what now?
I said Netflix doing it.
Yes, they are. Plenty of stuff. So there you guys have it. Thank you guys very much for listening. Until next time, we're out of here. Peace.